You know what? I do not understand why Wilt Chamberlain is not in the GOAT conversation. We need to talk about it. In 3, 2, 1. This is Perspective Log X, and I am your host, E.A. Crespo. Perspective Log X, Lakers-fandom. Wilt Chamberlain is one of the most prolific players the NBA has ever had. Most people say that he's the original NBA superstar. He was in that era, the 60s, where most of the superstars that our superstars in the 80s and the superstars that have followed these guys. But somehow, with the time, these names like Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who is the most recent one of those three, have been disrespected. Funny thing. So in the 60s, a lot of these superstars actually weren't favored in the area of the rules. Actually, the rules were against them because they were game changers. They were really people who could stand out, and the NBA understood in that era that they needed to level the competition. They needed to slow down the abilities of somebody like Wilt Chamberlain. They made rules that actively were against his game, like goaltending, defensive and offensive goaltending, and they call a lot of goaltendings that weren't goaltendings. And not dunking from the free throw line, he could do that. They saw it, and one of the coaches let the NCAA and the NBA know that was going on, so they quickly established that rule so he couldn't dunk from the free throw line. Like I said before, referees were actively looking for a way to slow him down, to not let Wilt do what he wanted on the court. Another thing interesting about that is that while he was a finesse player, everybody could tell you that he was so strong. You cannot deny him. You cannot deny him the position. And a testimony to that is that even Arnold Schwarzenegger would recognize that nobody at the gym that he practiced, not even the strongest guy, could do the weights that he was doing. In college, I think he was doing 400 pounds bench press. And some say that he actually eventually got to even 600 pounds. There's a lot of myth about that surrounds Wilt Chamberlain. So some of that information, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. But if you see a video where he is shaking hands with Shaquille O'Neal, you can see that he could move Shaquille O'Neal like a rag doll if he wanted to. And Shaquille O'Neal have the expression of, whoa, this guy is strong. Like, and so when some of the legends of basketball say that he could have moved Shaquille O'Neal like a rag doll, I believe it. I believe it. we're talking about, he was standing by Shaquille O'Neal and Patrick Ewing, and he looked larger than them. He looked like he could move both of them with no problem. And so, and you know, if you know that strength and you know that he's a finesse type of player, and not only that, the 100-yard dash in less than 11 seconds, that we're talking about a guy as quick as LeBron James, prime LeBron James, that can leap all the way to 44 vertical, and that outside of that, he is 7'2" with the shoes. You're gonna see sometimes they call it 7'1", but that was a height without the shoes. And so all that amount to a lot of attributes for him to be called the GOAT. Why isn't he in the GOAT conversation? It's like once they discover the value of the wing players, all the value that the centers provided before is completely null. But isn't it strange that most of the team that in 2020 are at the top, they have a big man as a star? I mean, think about it. Even the wings in the Clippers have a 6'10" guy, right? I mean, the Lakers have 2 stars in that area. I mean, and actually 3 big guys that are awesome, you know? And you see and feeling, I mean, I know they are struggling, but they are still a threat because they have a center that is a threat. The Denver Nuggets, you know, they have a center who is a threat. The Mavs, they have a center who is a threat. So I think people have underestimated centers in the last few years. But if you think about it, teams that have not a good center, eventually they have a really, really hard time making things go their way. And even the famous no center-centered team, which is the Golden State Warriors, they had a center, they had a big center, and the Raptors, I mean, I can keep going on. So centers are disrespected today, but still, I haven't seen a wing aside from Kobe Bryant that get 280 points. Never. And Kobe is the anomaly. It's another guy who's being disrespected big time in the GOAT conversation. But even him, with the advantage of having an outside shot and a three-point shot, which there was no three-point shot in the 60s, so that means less spacing, that means more people in the paint, and still people are thinking that Wilt Chamberlain doesn't deserve to be in the conversation. And I'm gonna take down some of the myth about the 60s in my next video. So I hope you guys understand what I'm coming from when I'm saying that if you don't believe he is the GOAT, you should believe that he should be in the GOAT conversation. As much as LeBron James, as much as Jordan. Because he's done things that they haven't dreamed of doing. And let me tell you something. He led the league in assists once. He is a center who could run the ball, who could pass behind the back, running, and I've seen the footages of that, and I'm gonna put some footages, some links to some footages about that. Hopefully you'll see it. Hopefully you'll see it. You'll see that also he's not just the guy who plays against short white guys. That is not true. And I'll show you in my next video. All right. See you guys soon. Go Lakers 2020.